In this afternoon's Health Alert, it is World Diabetes Day, and the CDC is sounding the alarm about a disease that is preventable. 1 in 3 Americans are at an increased risk for type 2 diabetes. That's about 98 million people. But research shows in many cases, type 2 diabetes and its complications can be delayed or prevented by adopting and maintaining healthy habits.
Yeah, and joining us now to talk more about this, ABC News Chief Medical Correspondent Dr. Jen Ashton. Doctor, first of all, this affects my family directly.
Yeah.
Latinos, very common in type 2 diabetes.
Yep.
So this is a time of awareness. What are the first symptoms people should look out for?
Well, first of all, when you're talking about type 2 diabetes, people might not have symptoms unless it's very advanced and not managed properly. In general, the classic hallmark signs and symptoms: weight loss, thirst, excessive urination, fatigue. That's for type 1 or type 2. Again, you have to distinguish them because they're often lumped in the same bucket, but they really are kind of different disease states. By the numbers, here in New York State, 1.5 million New Yorkers diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. Largely about 500,000 have diabetes and do not know it. To your point, Liz, about 5 million New Yorkers have pre-diabetes, which is reversible. That's pre-type 2 diabetes. And the cost associated with this, aside from the physical and medical costs, the financial costs in New York State alone is estimated to be $21 billion a year. So again, simple screening blood test, and you can see if you're pre-diabetic or diabetic.
So you mentioned the word reversible. What does that exactly mean?
Well, when you talk about type 2 diabetes, which means your body makes insulin, but it just isn't used well by the cells, weight loss, exercise, dietary modification, oral medications, and again, with weight loss, a large part of type 2 diabetes is reversible. So that's where I think you've heard me say before, we have to get very aggressive about helping people who are overweight or obese lose that weight with every tool in our toolbox. It's not as simple, unfortunately, as diet and exercise.
It causes so many complications to other ailments that someone may have. My mother had it, and we were always watching the diabetes because it was a domino effect, I think.
Yes,
we were desperate for a drug that we could just take to make it disappear. How close are we to getting a drug like that?
Well, again, it depends whether you're talking about type 1 or type 2 diabetes, but we're talking a lot about the obesity, weight loss medications, which were developed largely to help manage type 2 diabetes. I think we're going to see an increasing role of those medications in prevention. So, you know, again, we talk about the semaglutide, Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro classes of medications. The more we can help people lose weight who are overweight or obese, the more we're going to be able to put a dent in these type 2 diabetes numbers.
Before we go this afternoon?
There we go. COVID vaccine.
Yes.
COVID vaccine.
A pretty pink Band-Aid.
Thank you. Just like a kindergartner.
And you feel great.
Yes, I do.
And you are protected.
Correct.